community call. Today we are on our 93rd meeting, I guess. Yep. So these are the meeting notes from last time. And we talked about closing out a couple of issues, and Riff presented his flow resimulation HLD. And we did not get to this capacity model for the Dash pipeline matching stages that he wanted to present a different time. But that took up about the whole hour. I don't know if everyone remembers. So anyway, we did that. And then this was the whole conversation about it here. I sent this out in email. So if you didn't get it, contact me or krisny@microsoft.com. But this does go out once a week. And we talked to someone new from Arista. And then here are the links for the 460 and 461 for the flow resim and the capacity model. So that's what we did last time. And then, so this week I did see some discussion on the PR where we were talking about the object being created 5 or 6 times. And I was wondering maybe if Mayapa, do you want to talk about that first since I just saw those coming through?
Yeah, Christina. So, I mean, the objects getting created, right? I mean, it's
something
a bulk.
About the bulk though versus the single, or I can pull it up. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Christina. So, yeah, I shared my view on that issue. Okay. So I am. I just want to hear from. Christine, right? Yeah. I mean, from NVIDIA expert.
Okay.
Yeah. So I shared my view that I mean, because the trigger is coming from bulk create. Okay. I don't know what is. It is because of the init sequence is invoking the bulk create request, because we see that 6 objects is getting created. But if it is a single create request, then it should not happen. Okay, but looks like multiple objects are getting created because the trigger is from the init path. That is what my understanding. Okay, so I just want to hear from the experts. Okay.
Yeah. And then Camille made a quick comment after that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just made that comment right now.
Right. So, any clue, Marian?
No, actually, no.
Okay.
I'll need to look at it offline because I don't even remember what's going on in that part of the.
Oh, okay. When the SCI implementation, Camille, go ahead and recap it real quick.
So the problem here is that when we call this single API in the Dash auto-generated function, internally this getNext object ID function, which is generating new object ID for site. Right now, I think it's refactored. I changed to something else. The name is different. It's like creating a new object, like new object ID in terms of the SCI. And based on that object, some new actions are called to the BMV2, which using that gRPC channel, which this object ID is used as, this new generated object ID is used as some kind of some kind of unique ID, I believe, to distinguish on the BMV2 side, on which object the action is made. But I'm not sure, whether it is supposed to be done like this, because this function is create dash ACL rule and the output object ID is supposed to be only one object. Yeah, and in this case, we don't know which object. I don't know what intention of author was here. That which object should actually be returned from this function. Whether we should generate only one object ID and then have like many different IDs for those functions which need to be called in this Apple create function. I'm not sure. Because I'm not aware of any functionality in the BMV2, so I'm not sure what's supposed to be happening inside that. Those are just my guesses here.
Yeah, right. So the function is supposed to create multiple entries in BMV2, but only one SI object. So there's clearly a mix-up of layers.
Yeah.
But I don't recall what's going on. Why we create multiple SI objects? So
I think one of the problem here, I'm also guessing because I don't know what the intention of the author here was, but those multiple objects you are mentioning, those are actually reusing part of the code which is in that J2 format. Because each part of code actually can be reused in that, and inside this part of code is also this function which is creating this new object ID. So maybe, and actually that part of code is like generic for all the other functions, like other side functions which are generated, not only for the dash ACL rule. So I think it was like convenient to use in these terms. So that's why probably there are multiple objects ID used. And to actually make this like a special case, to actually have like separate this action, maybe it's not trivial. And there is not easy to do at the first glance.
yeah, I agree with you that the intention is to probably reuse the code, but I don't know if the right abstraction was used, because it's supposed to for one API call to create an entry, create multiple BMV2 entries, not the sign entries. So this is something that I don't have on top of my memory why that is happening.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that, but at least at the current knowledge that I have on this side of the project, I'm not able to fix this. I don't know what's supposed to be there. So I would need someone who actually has some deeper knowledge to actually make this the proper way. Because there is also right now in the current implementation, what's happening in that generated code is that this object ID, which is generated multiple times, in the value of that object is overwritten. So actually the function after create is returning the last value of the function which is creating that, and all previous values are discarded. They're like forgotten. So
Christina, maybe you can reassign it to me. I'll take a look then.
I have Riff, Gohan, Prince Marian. I have you assigned. Do you want me to just?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Just do
it.
it.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
I'll
think
take a look at it as well.
Will? I'm sorry, I'm trying to follow on the call.
yeah.
Oh, can you guys hear me okay? I think I just muted myself.
Yeah.
You muted
Yes.
everyone.
Oh,
jeez.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah, so I think it will be more like beneficial for to actually take a look at the full generated code for that function. Because in the issue I just grabbed through all the same parts to actually show that what parts are duplicated. But maybe looking at the full function, it will give some tips how to actually solve this. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Camille. Okay. Did we want to cover the PR from yesterday about the tunnel? This one was approved yesterday.
Oh, it's just a bug fix. Then there was
Yeah.
a value overridden. So I don't think there is anything to present. It's just a few lines.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the behavior, it just fixes it for NVGOD, which is not tested currently. So that's why we didn't see it. But our engineers working with this simulator found out that NVGOD is not working. And we fixed it.
Thank you. And so I think I'll open it up and let you guys go ahead. Did you guys have anything you wanted to talk about specifically?
So I have 2 PRs. Would like to continue present.
Sure.
So yeah. So So the I think last week we got the flow simulation HD. So I get that HD updated a little bit. If I remember correctly. Yeah, just for addressing the key issue. So then with the new approach should greatly reduce the number of bits we need to use as an option. So that should work. Then we have 2 more PRs. One is a capability model. We can actually postpone that one because we are actually working on the behavior model like update. So once that PR comes out, it will be easier to actually see what is actually talking about. Then we have another one is that bring your own Dataplane HLD. So this one will give us ability that we can actually allow the customer to build their own Dataplane app instead of using the inbox one then provided by each technical providers. So this one is actually getting used in the Net HLD already, which is actually if you see the Net HLD, you'll see like there is a Net gateway actually needs this capability already. Yeah. And then the customer could have their own customized protocol they need to handle, and that will need their own Dataplane app as well. So with these two cases, then we are thinking about, okay, let's get this one like modeled as unified like a workflow, so anyone can actually use if there is any case that is needed. So this is this HLD. I think Ashutash already look at it and left one comment. So I addressed this comment already. So I can go through the high level and see how it goes.
Yeah. Do you want to present or do you want me to present?
Yeah, I can actually present. So let me just share my screen. Okay. All right. So basically the background is just like the ones that I already mentioned. So in order to like support the customized Dataplane app, so this is like this talk basically trying to describe how the Dataplane app looks like and how the workflow looks like in high level. So if, this is basically the workflows here, and what is the responsibility we have here. So let's start from the what do we have today? So Dataplane app, the inbox one. So basically, right now, if we look at the dash, how it works is that we have the hardware, we have the ASIC, right, and we have our controllers or whoever our user is. And then the user will actually call the dash side APIs to do, do the ASIC initialization, creating all these like the entries for each matching stage or each like and then the internally whenever the packet comes, it will actually go to the once the ASIC gets programmed, when the packet comes, actually go to the Dataplane app, go through the ASIC, and go to the Dataplane app, where it actually handles new flows, and the flow gets created and inserted back to the ASIC. Then the ASIC handles the rest of the packet. So this one is known as slow pass, while this one is known as a fast pass. So this is already covered in the HLD. So this is basically how it looks like today in high level. And then what we are if the customer needs to bring their own Dataplane app, what we actually need to do. So in the high level, we basically needs to replace this part to what our customer has. However, this part will actually has to be responsible for a few things. The first of all is definitely like flow management, because flow creation, like all these updates, it actually happens here, because this one is responsible for the slow pass, and then it also needs to work with the ASIC to do some like programming, and then this is basically like what this Dataplane app is doing today. And then once we have the customer uses their own Dataplane app, the responsibility is not going to change. So whichever like today the inbox Dataplane app needs to do, it has to do it here as well. So yeah, okay. So in order to bring our own Dataplane, allow customer to bring our own Dataplane app, what do we need to do is that this is just swap. What we are proposing is that we can actually add two rows in the dash side. So basically, one side is a controller, and one side is a worker. So the worker represents a Dataplane app, while the controller is just like do the first round of initialization. So basically, the controller is responsible for initializing ASIC and environments to allow the worker to load, while the worker is responsible for processing packets and doing all the programming. And the reason why it is designed like this, not the controller and the worker can both talking to or calling the side APIs, the same set of side APIs, I should say, to program the table entries. The reason is that if we look into this graph, if everything is implemented by the technical providers, then it actually will coordinate under the side APIs. It will actually coordinate inside. So, but if we allow the customer to do their own Dataplane app, then now we have two sources to call the side APIs. One side is definitely from the controller. Say this one is for example, updating the SDN policies, or creating. I will take a very specific example, like create a VNet mapping, and then this side would say, okay, they will also need to create the flow entries, and also as well as like handling the flow simulations. So it will actually say, okay, if the mapping needs to be updated, now we need to resimulate all the flows. Then what happens is that now we have two sources calling the same set of APIs, and then creates a problem. So initially, like before Ashutosh actually left the comment, so it was actually allowing the two sides to calling the same set of APIs, but then it turns out to be, yeah, that's probably too problematic, and it just like creates a problem and creates a time bomb to happen. So so with this with the new update, what happens is that the controller will first call the controller role, do the initialization, then gets the device back, and then launches a Dataplane app, while all the like table entry, like programming, and all the flow entries, everything else is actually called only in the worker role. So if you're calling in the controller role, it'll actually say, no, you cannot call it here, it's not supported. But if you call it in the worker role, it actually will go through. So this one solves these two sources of programming and only allow one side to programs. So that is that is why we have this side API proxy here to actually send the help our users to send the APIs to the right place. And, okay, so this is basically this part. So on the high level, it basically looks like this. The only thing that changed is, of course, we have this new Dataplane app. They use the exact same Dataplane net device that to initialize the basically this is the PTK app, I would say. So initialize the application, and then inside of application, it handles the request, then sends from the API proxy, and of course, the API proxy and the API handler, those two can be generated, and then the worker role, this one is, well, it's basically just APIs, and if the Dataplane app needs to do their own logic, say, okay, if the VNet mapping gets added, please resimulate the flows, then they can add it inside of the API handlers to for any extra logic they need to do. All right, so on high level, you basically look at it like this. Then let's look into the detailed workflows for the initialization and ASIC programming, and we can talk about like how the flow management RSA support looks like. Then in the end, it's a little bit like API design. All right, so the workflow on the high level, for the initialization, this is actually the let me put it slightly bigger. This is probably the complicated part in the doc. Well, but it should not be too complicated. So basically, the user calls the side proxy and says, "Hey, we need to." This is basically the first API that user needs to call, just like today, but it will be a new attribute says, and hey, we are initializing, we are creating a switch with a controller role, and this is maybe there are some settings we need to pass through. And then the side proxy will just forward the request to the side because it is the controller. And then controller will initialize the call environment, initialize the DPUs, and then it will configure the inbox Dataplane app if there is one. And then the inbox Dataplane app, just like what we show here, it will not to like bind the Dataplane app net device anymore. It's just like basically shrink itself as a part of the SDK, just in case anything that it still needs to handle. So the Dataplane app will be looking like this. And then once it is configured, the create switch is done. The user can now get the net device name as a switch attribute. So get it back. And then this one will, because it's a controller, this one forwards to the side controller. And then once the net device get, the user can now launch their own Dataplane app here. And then the Dataplane app can then create calls the side, then it gets and create call the create switch with a worker role. And then during the create switch, what happens is that the side will goes back to the side proxy and say, okay, let me connect to the proxy. So whenever the user calls like from the outside, like calls, for example, create a VNet mapping, it will actually forward it to the to the Dataplane app using internal channel, and then to actually program the ASIC. Here, once this one connect is done, then the Dataplane app can now have the control over the net device and also have the control over all the APIs. So it can start initializing on top of the current net device. So this is basically how the high-level like initialization workflow looks like. And then once this is done, then the Dataplane app will be able to receive or send the packet from the net device, just like the normal DPTK app. And then you can use the API to actually program the ASIC. So, however, there are two things we actually are not listed in the graph. That basically is that because it is the customer's own Dataplane app. So the customer, like the controller, can of course directly connects to the Dataplane app and talks to it where to do any of the programming, like for private protocols or for any other things that is not contained or included in the APIs. So that is definitely doable. But this one is not like included in the graph because this one just like talking from the API perspective. So, and then another thing you could do is that the Bring Your Own Dataplane app can definitely directly call into platform-dependent APIs. Basically, that is SDK provided by the each like technical providers directly, and to manage the ASIC. However, if the customer choose to do so, then it means that it will lose the portability of the Dataplane app, of course, because it's banded to the platform, while SAI is platform independent, and this API will be platform dependent. Okay, so
Rick, there is also another option that the Dataplane app can call the PDK flow instead of SAI APIs. Right.
Yes. So Dataplane app is basically just DPTK app, so it can access any of the DPTK APIs. Yes. Yeah. Thanks a lot. I'll add it in. Yeah. Okay. And then once the initialization is done, you can receive and send the packet. Then the Dataplane app itself can directly program the ASIC, for example, create new flows. This one will be using the flow APIs that will be covered in a different doc. I think we actually presented it once, but it has been a while. So the PR is actually there. Then the second thing is that of course it will any of the mappings update or table entry updates now can be forwarded from the site proxy to the Dataplane app and into the handler. Then the Dataplane app can choose to forward to the site, to the real site, or to choose to do any extra like handling based on their own. So for example, here I will take the VNet mapping as example. Then usually what happens during the VNet mapping update is that it just updates a table entry, right? And but the VNet mapping actually requires to trigger the simulator flow that is all the flows that is associated with the mapping. Then what happens is that because we already have the mapping key, as we talk about for the flow simulation HLD, then what happens is that the Dataplane app can choose to trigger the flow simulation or doing any other actions needed by calling the site APIs. Then it will goes to here, and once it is done, it will it can it basically updates the entry and triggers the flow simulation, and this one is done. And this one is update the flow entry. Well, then at this moment, when the packet comes to the Dataplane app, and of course it can directly triggers the flow entry updates. For example, FastPass will be this case, and with this model, the flow management will actually just be covered already, like here. So whenever the packet actually arrives to the Dataplane app, the APIs can be the dash flow APIs can be used to manipulate the flows as for creation or updates or any specific in any specific way. And then the last one is actually the RSS support. So RSS is basically very frequently used feature, of course. And as we actually see, we actually can have like multiple cores here. Each one of them actually have a receiver send queue. So the packet comes in, will choose one of the queues to handle, and usually the NIC or net device actually have all these like internal support for RSS already. So all these features can already be accessed through the DPDK. So which is like why we don't really have any extra APIs that being created for doing that. You just use whichever the standard way, like inside of DPDK, to configure the RSS, because essentially this Dataplane app is just a DPDK app, or any app that built on top of DPDK probably. So so this is on a high level how everything looks like, and basically on the API design perspective, then what happens is we just need a switch attribute. Sorry, we need two things. The first one is, of course, we need the switch attribute. So in this one, we already have these two rows here, and then we can actually calling a create switch or get switch attribute with this the dash management role, or this one is the inbox Dataplane app work count, and the net device. This one is read only. This one is getting the net device name. Basically, this one is a string. So in the side is a S8 list. Well, it's basically a string, and then and here it may be interesting, because when we trying to disable the Dataplane app workers, we are actually using the Dataplane app work counter work count to set this one. Like for example, like -1 is disable, 0 is whichever like default, basically it's auto, will be like whichever the technical provider choose to be, and if it is greater than 0, then it's like okay, we want to override the ones that the inbox app was using or is using like by default. So why it's designed like this is because in the future there may be we can actually think about like a hybrid mode, but this one is probably more complicated. So we'll put this as a future work. However, in the API level, then if we put this worker count here, it actually allows us to allows us to be compatible with all the future work. So yeah, this is basically the only thing that needs to be changed from the API design level perspective, like how the API looks like. And of course, the how to program the APIs would be just use whatever we have right now. So there is no new APIs gets used, and this the proxy and handler, basically they can be auto-generated from our API design as well. There is no extra like APIs needs to be introduced here. So yeah, so basically this is on the high level how everything looks like, and yes, so far, any questions?
Yeah, so I think the key point
None from me. I'd have to read through it. Anyone else?
Yeah. So the PR is actually here. Yeah, I'll send it to the chat as well, just in case.
Hey, Riff, I have a question, sort of a very high-level question. Can you give an example of a customer that would write their own data plane like this?
Yeah. So let's go to sorry. Yeah. let's go to, for example, this one, net HOD. Yeah, and I'll go to the file change. Net device. Come on, net device. Oh, sorry, net service. Close this one, and I'll show file. Yeah, so here, so basically, this is a net HOD that clock from Alibaba sent out, and what happens in this case is that, for example, here the net scenario, then the VMs actually like send the packet in, and then to the basically you can think about like the whole this one this whole net gateway is just like one single ENI. And then when packet arrives, it will go through the contract lookup table, right? So this one is basically the outbound flow lookup. And if it's not hit, then it goes to the slow pass. And in the slow pass, it will do the SNAT. Because when doing the, when this is the L4 SNAT. So when doing the SNAT, what it needs to do is that it actually needs to allocate the port for each connection, and the port has to be like not conflicting. So basically, for example, there are two connections they cannot like using the same port. All right, so that is what is required for any of the L4 SNAT, not just specific to this one, but any of the L4 SNAT needs to do. So, and in this case, you see, if we do this today, the inbox app or for Dash, they don't have this capability of doing the NAT gateway or any other things. So then this graph basically will look like this. The VM sends a packet to the flow lookup, and if the flow miss, it sends to their own Dataplane app. And once it is there, it will transform the packet or doing any of the it will actually trying to create a flows or trying to go through their own policy and create a flows, then set up the new flows. You see here, set up the new flows. Basically, this is the flow API call, and then send the packet back, which basically doing all this transformation based on this new flow, and then sends to internet. And then any of the following packet will do the flow hit, and then just directly go through the internet. So this slow pass here, they cannot actually use any of the existing like the Dataplane app, which will require their own Dataplane app as well. So this is one of the use case. Other use cases could be, for example, there is a private protocol that is not actually standard. I'll use a not very proper example because it's already like published. Is FastPass, right? FastPass is a very dedicated format for manipulating the flows in a very specific way, and from Microsoft, of course. And then so that one will be needs to be handled in a very specific way. So if we handle in the data plan, then what happens is that we have two options. We could say, okay, let's either handle it in the own data plan app, right? We can actually add like any of the private protocol here. Doesn't mean we have to implement the fast pass in this way. Like I said, it's probably not a very proper example, but I'm just using fast pass for any of the private to represent any of the private protocols. So we can actually handle the protocol inside of the Dataplane app, and then in the end, it will translate to, of course, the new flows, or it just handles it and then doing whatever the change if they choose not to create any flows. Like any packet has to go to the Dataplane app, then it's also doable. Or if they just like the fast pass and you update any of the existing flows, then it's also doable. So essentially, this is what of these like options this Dataplane app can choose to do.
Okay.
So yeah. So these are basically the use cases.
Okay, that helps, I guess. But if you go back to the SNAT case, so you said that there's logic for choosing like the L4 ports when you need to like start doing that on a new flow.
Right.
So you're saying that that logic cannot exist in the vendor that or there's logic that is inside the vendor that those rules are like external.
But your voice is probably a little bit chopped. But if I get you right, you are saying that can this like SNAT logic exist or be implemented by the inbox app? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, what you are saying is actually right. But this one is just an example that shows the features that is not exist in the Dash pipeline today. So to me, mostly like this is why like I'm thinking. Oops, not this one. So I'm thinking maybe in the future we can actually do hybrid data plan app. You see, there are some features that not exist in here today. However, the users may need it, and then it takes time to actually get into all the platforms. Which is why like this option will be useful for any like these use cases. So these features, yeah.
But like who would be an example customer that would do this?
Yeah.
Like is it Microsoft?
No, so I also have a same question, like who's gonna use this? And maybe the right way to do this is to expose the functionality via Dash APIs, and then whichever vendor is implementing can choose to implement this or not. That might be one other way to get about to do this, right? And
but this is the thing, right? No matter how much we need to do, there will be cases that is not being covered in the inbox ones, right? So there are special use cases, and we have to admit that. Those cases will be really hard to get into the standard way. Like each company may have like their own special cases, right?
So we will be running 2 data planes on the DPUs or just one?
No. It's just one.
Then,
but so this, I think that is actually one of the valid topic is that here, right? The bring your own data plan app. There could be like.
I can understand if the whole thing is replaced, right? Someone have a custom data plane that they have, their own implementation for everything. That is more easy to visualize, like someone just gets the DPU, like in case of NVIDIA, bring your own NASA, right? That was one proposal earlier. That kind of thing, like whole data plane just replaced with your own implementation. But over here, you are saying some things will come via Dash pipeline and go to the vendor's implementation.
No. This one is replace all. This one is, you see, the technical providers like Dataplan app is not going to bind the net device anymore, right? So this is one only bind by the bring your own Dataplan app, which is why like I'm not including the hybrid mode or anything like that. So it's just like the Dataplan app handles its own. Yeah.
So this is some future scenario that don't exist today, but might exist is what you are doing. Because right now, whatever we are doing, we are including in Dash, right? Whatever at least Microsoft needs, we have it in the Dash. But this is something that maybe like some future design.
This will be You can call it feature design, but I don't think it will be that future.
Okay.
Because even within Microsoft, well, I'm not even sure if want to talk about that. Yeah, there are some cases.
Yeah, maybe within Microsoft we can sync before presenting. Yeah. Because I'm not aware of within Microsoft what are we gonna do with this right now.
They are. We can sync offline.
Yeah, let's sync first before Yeah.
So is this, sorry to ask this question again, is this basically for Microsoft to write a dash
no, this is
implementation for
Yeah, this is not just for Microsoft. As I said, like for example, we definitely need it, and this proposal is from Alibaba. This is not Microsoft. So I think this one will be like generic, needed by many different companies.
So Alibaba is asking for this?
Alibaba is also asking for this, yes.
Like in what forum are they asking?
HLD, like anything is public, right? So if you look at the HLD, this slow pass is basically bring their own Dataplane app.
Okay.
So the Dataplane app, the BYO Dataplane app. So are the interfaces this app uses will be SI APIs, a single NetDev interface, and I guess DPDK to access the NetDev interface.
Yeah.
And then there's no other APIs needed, right? You're not saying that app will access any vendor like specific SDK calls, right?
The app could choose to access the vendor-specific calls. They're not bound to SI APIs or DPDK APIs.
So how will that work with like versioning? Like, I mean, every time there's a new like vendor release, the customer will have to recompile their app. Is that right?
I don't think so. So you see, basically, when they do vendor release, the release process is that, for example, the vendor release a new APIs or SDKs, right? And then what happens even today is that it's not going to be once it gets released, it directly goes into the machine. So it will go through all these like build process, no matter how you're gonna use it. So the bring your Dataplane app is not going to be added any extra complexity in that way, because say just like today, if you want to for example, like change the size. Of course, you'll build a new image that includes a new size, so it's not going to be added any extra complexity here. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Sorry. So the customer, say Alibaba, for example, would have their source code for the BYOD app and then do what with it? I mean, are they submitting their app into like a open source repository or something, or are they building it themselves?
Yeah, they're building it for themselves. So this is basically for themselves. So they can use Dash in a very respectful way. Don't have to like actually because this is bring your own. So they don't have to actually send this one to the public space. If they choose to send this one to public space, that's basically their choice. However, this one is that it basically once it gets is this from the packet processing perspective, or this one from the build perspective? If it's build perspective, then basically just like build their app, include the site header files. If they choose to include the platform-dependent SDK header files, well, they could do so. Then they basically build their app, and then not just build the app, but build the whole thing as an image, and then upgrade the image on the DPU and bounce the image.
Okay, so their app runs along all the other SONiC processes on the DPU.
Right. Right. So on a high level, it's basically just so this is what we have today. So we just like replace this part.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is this should not be a too long HLD, and in the end, the site API design is just like three extra attributes. But with those 3 extra attributes, we should be able to provide these capabilities here. And then, yeah, the proxy here and the handler here can be auto-generated, just like the dash site APIs today. Yeah, so this is basically it on a high level.
So one more quick question. So the that NetDev interface, what packets are received by that interface? Is it only packets that miss the lookup in the flow table?
Oh, sorry. Do you mind to capture that? Repeat the question.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Which packets get sent from the ASIC to the NetDev interface? Is it only packets that miss the flow table lookup?
Yes. Yes.
So no other packet. So any packet that hits the flow table stays in the ASIC.
Yeah. So if the Dataplane app says then okay, now it handles a new packet. This one's for the new flow, and then it calls the flow APIs, create flow in the ASIC. Then the rest of the packet will just go through the fast pass, just like here. So after set up the new flows, then the subsequent packet will just go through the fast pass. It will not bump to the Dataplane app anymore.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Yeah, so that's basically everything in the high level.
Thank
you. Yeah, and I'm going to leave the capability model to the next time. So I think I already you already used like too much time for the medium. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop
anyone
presenting.
No, it's okay. Did anyone else have a PR issue you wanted to cover in the last 5 minutes or Q&A? Okay, well, then I guess I can let you have 5 minutes back. And I hope you have a good day. And I'll stop the recording and send notes, etc. So thanks for coming, everyone.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.